the lines of like big like stains, and for thicker carpets. I used it on my suit once. It took forever to dry. Forever. Because when you spray it, it foams up and then it seeps in. And then you have to leave it there for like 10, 15 minutes. You have to like spray it, rub it in, leave it there for like 15 minutes, get the stain out, and you gotta dry it. And then by then the moisture's already seeped into your foam. And if you leave foam for too wet, wet for too long, then it grows moldy, and that's really, really gross. You should probably just throw it away after that.
Basically using hydrogen peroxide to spray the insides, like help disinfect it.
Yeah, hydrogen peroxide, watered down alcohol is another good way. Just don't put it on right after. You might get high or drunk, whatever. Yeah, you might be seeing things for a while. Yeah.
Make sure it's isopropyl. Isopropyl.
Yeah, and then also, like, I don't know if you guys were here. Who was here last year? Were you guys here for my accident?
Sort of.
What accident?
Okay, so I did a front flip under the influence. Over rotated, and then I broke my fall with my face.
Oh.
I broke my nose in 2 places. I broke both orbital sockets, both black eyes, and about $4,500 worth of surgery.
Oh, that was you on ridiculousness.
Yeah, probably. So if you can imagine, if I broke my nose and my orbital sockets, I bled, right? Well, I was wearing that when I did that. So the foam broke my fall, and my doctors actually told me that that thing saved my life. Because after the MRI and the CT scan, they got a measurement, and my nasal cavity, my nasal bone, was 4 millimeters from being put into my brain. You don't want to die at a convention. You don't want to be that guy. He went too hard. So, but when I went to the hospital, some friends of mine came out, and if you notice, there's no blood in here. There's no blood whatsoever. It's quite impressive. And blood's practically the hardest thing to get out, besides coffee. Baking soda. That's what that was. I don't know how, like, the process that they used for cleaning it. You can ask them. Halon and Chance the Pun Dragon are the guys that helped me out with that. So you can ask them the process on how they cleaned that and washed all of my blood out. So it actually probably came out a lot better than what it did when it went in. So any other questions about cleaning? Holy, okay, sorry.
Oh no,
Never mind, you're switching here. You don't count anyway. Yeah, what's up?
Does the spot off just take out marks on white, or does it get out?
Takes out and everything.
Okay, that's...
The biggest thing about spot shot is why I say white and a white cloth is because sometimes different colors will actually like fade. Like if you throw your foils in the washer, it comes out brighter than you did when it came in. Like if you throw darks in with whites and then your blue shirt fades into like a sky blue, like her color, then I mean obviously your color faded, right? Same thing with towels and rags. I mean if it gets wet, sometimes it'll fade, and then you can actually brush off some of that color onto your suit. So that's why I emphasize using a white rag. I used this shirt at one time and it came out darker, so I had to clean it again, and thankfully it came out. But white little like the little 8x8s or whatever, those white rags are what I prefer. And you can actually see the dirt come off too. So.
Yeah. Also was told this by Alice Kangaroo. One of the things he uses to disinfect his fursuit is a combination of isopropyl alcohol, also known as rubbing alcohol, and imitation vanilla.
Imitation?
Vanilla.
Yeah.
Vanilla to make it smell better. That's cool. I think Frisbee does the same thing actually, because Frisbee literally smelled like vanilla for like 3 hours. I don't know how they do that, but that's really impressive.
That's how they make rum normally, is they'll dip vanilla sticks into the alcohol itself because it extracts it into the alcohol.
That's why you don't want to use real vanilla extract. You want imitation vanilla.
Yeah. What's up?
Lysol. Yes,
Lysol. Inside, yes. Outside, no. I've heard some bad things about Lysol, and you don't want to overdo it.
Just for the inside, like you turn it inside out and spray it?
You don't have to turn your paws inside out. I mean, if you can, then go for it. I mean, it's really hard to get those fingers right back in where they were.
What about for like the suit itself, like sleeves? And
Yeah, turn it inside out. I've heard bad things about Lysol being put on top of the fur. Like on the inside is where all of your body connects to it, and your sweat gets on the inside of it because it's all layered, it's not fur. So you can spray that, and that'll kill it. And then the same thing with your head. You don't want to sit there like, it's like, oh, it's really dirty. Maybe a little more. Don't do that. It's really bad, and then it takes forever to dry, and I think that's actually bad for the foam itself. It's because there's only a small layer connecting from the head and then the foam on the between the fur and where your head sits. So one little, and then that's it. That's all you need.
There is something in Lysol that makes foam brittle.
There you go. So don't want to. Yeah, don't do that. Anything else, Queenie? In the back.
Unrelated to cleaning. Just about the water thing. I know they have like backpacks for like bicyclists that you just fill up with like so much water. And they've got the tube that comes around your neck.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd be able to wear one of those under the suit and then have it come up through the head so you have water without having?
You can do that, but I think if you do it underneath, it'll heat the water up. And then what happens when you lay on your back? Your back pops, and then you're like.
Well, yeah, because it's like a backpack.
Yeah.
You have like this
I can tell
Yeah.
you, we use those things in the Army, and if you have those under something, that water will get just as hot as the rest of you. With our body armor
Yeah.
and everything, we're rocking, 100, 200 degrees. And if you put ice in them, they're the most uncomfortable thing in it. So.
Yeah. So I wore them in the Navy too. I was in Afghanistan in 2011.
I was just curious, how hot does the heads themselves get?
The heads, just the heads?
Just the heads.
I do I can do like my suit. I do what's called a party mode, where I just do head and hands, and I'll just walk around like a normal person. That isn't as bad as wearing a full body, because the rest of your body is still able to emit the heat. So it's not just your head that's emitting heat. So it doesn't get as hot. Your body doesn't feel as hot, but it still can get warm. So not as many breaks, but you can take a couple. So it's really based on your preference. But honestly, I can run around with my head all day and my head and hands all day and not have a problem. Depending on I would do a short sleeve shirt. That's my party mode, is a short sleeve shirt, skin showing. Skin is not a big deal to me if it's showing or not. That's what party mode is. You're too drunk to put on the rest of your suit, so you put on just your head and your hands, and you're like, oh look, I'm a fursuiter. It's my 1/4 partial.
I remember reading that the idea that the majority of the heat escapes through your head is a misnomer, actually.
What?
That 90% of the heat escapes through your head is actually a misnomer.
The misnomer.
No, it's true.
Now, what the legend came from when they put the infrared cameras on fully clothed people, and what's typically not clothed, your head. So
Yeah.
that's where the body heat escapes from. But if you're naked, most of the heat tends to go from your armpits and your chest.
Yeah. It's the same thing with your feet, because your feet, if you notice, you only you spend all this time walking around, and all of your sweat, gravity pulls all of your sweat to your feet, which is why they emphasize washing your feet, is because all of your sweat and all that bacteria that came off of your body is now in your shoe. So washing your feet is really important. So it's the same concept. Only if it gets hot in there, it gets sweaty in there. If it's gonna get hot up here, it's gonna get sweaty up here. So yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I'm not gonna say yes or no to the whole heat thing. I mean, it's another thing to take into consideration. But with the rest of your body still exposed to the air, you're still being able to get that cool breeze, or your body's able to emit the heat away from your body in some way, shape, or form. If you're in a full suit, your body can't do that. So everything's gonna go upward. Anything else? No? Stupid pillars. No? On any kind of suiting question. Any suiting question. In the back.
To answer the for inside feet, they usually put just regular fur, but if you're doing it out of the groin kind of movement, they actually use a plain black doormat to go around.
They can do that, or they can do this.
Yeah, like that.
Nothing handles the floor better than your shoe. That's why I wanted it this way.
And you don't slip on wet surfaces.
True. If you use the doormat, Like I had my first suit had just the flat surface. I also had Heelys in my suit, in those feet.
Oh.
And if you try and Heely on carpet, you're gonna get traction.
No.
So even if you try and stop, you're still going. Those things wear out. They also wear out really, really fast. Which is why, like some people, they actually drag their feet because their feet, they have those massive stompy paws and they can't lift them. So that'll wear out the fabric underneath. So that's why I prefer just doing it this way, because no one's gonna be like, hey, let me see your foot. I mean, you have the indoor paw option. My new suit's gonna have indoor paws, but they're also gonna have sandals. So sandals are like the if you guys ever like used a you ever go to like the mall and you see that little child play place where like has that little foam and the numbers on the inside of it? The sandals are made out of that same product, so they're actually made to like last. And you can put little not Velcro, what's the band, the straps over it. You can strap that to your foot paw and then walk around like a normal person, like sandals. And you can protect the fur underneath your feet.
It's called EVA foam.
Yeah, EVA foam. Cool.
Is there a preference for type of shoe, like Converse or something else?
Something comfortable. I have really expensive shoes. These were $120. These are Nike Airs. These are Jordans. They were like, no, don't do that. I dance in this, so I need those. I also have a pair of Heelys for my other set of feet that I didn't bring. I've seen people use slippers. You can't really do a whole lot in slippers, and they get really gross. So something comfortable, because you never know how long you're going to be in suit. Tennis shoes are preferred. I know people that wear like high top Converses. I know people that wear like regular Converses. And then there are some friends that actually use like the stompy feet, and they have enough room to actually put any kind of shoe on and then put their foot over it, or put their foot paw over their shoe. So I mean, you can walk around in flip-flops and still have your stompy paws on, but your feet's gonna be really gross. No, you're fine.
Are your feet built onto those shoes?
Yeah, these ones are built in. So these are actually hot glued onto, or not hot glued, they're shoe glued. That's another thing too. It's another good preference I could get into. Hot glue. Hot glue does not hold as well as you think. These feet paws are maybe 3 months old. No, these are younger. I went to TFF. I got them shortly after TFF, so it was in February. So I got these in March. And I've already hot glued these on twice. Like the fur itself will actually the hot glue will actually come out, because when you run around, your feet get hot. When the glue gets hot, it melts, or it gets loose again, so it comes apart. We found out, or a friend of mine found out, Halon, he found out that shoe goo is actually really, really good. The only problem is it's flammable when it's wet. When it's like, in that, molding stage. So I didn't bring the shoe goo with me, but shoe goo holds it for ever. They actually use it on regular shoes, so it'll actually stick.
Yeah, the hot glue, another reason why it won't last a long time is because it only has a certain amount of flexibility, and especially if you're using it in your feet, it breaks that bond, because it can't stretch with it.
Yeah. So shoe goo is kind of like a rubber cement, but it's not rubber cement. I want to actually try that though. I've seen rubber cement before, and I dumped it onto one of my parents' like little shoe holder things. I think it's still on there. I did that when I was like 12.
3M spray adhesive is excellent.
What's that?
3M spray adhesive.
I've never seen that.
Like
Super 77 or Super 90?
Yeah.
Does shoe goo work well with holding the fur down, like
Shoe goo is really to hold the fur onto the shoe.
Yeah, but some glues don't work well with some materials. They sort of, right?
I did this a couple days ago, and it's been holding out pretty well.
Okay.
So when it comes to gluing fur onto the shoe goo is the way to go. Because the shoe goo, I read the label in the back. Always read directions, trust me. It protects the shoe, I guess. What I read is like they actually use this on like regular shoes. It protects the shoe. I guess the shoe's like semi-waterproof, so water doesn't seep into like inside of your foot. And then So yeah, Shugu